Here's like 50 Chainsaw Man facts, I don't know, I lost count. Pochita's design was likely inspired by a real Japanese chainsaw brand called Makita, which likely had an influence on Makima's name as well. Fujimoto has also stated that Makima's name becomes Mama when you take the key out, which is true, but I'm not sure what we're supposed to do with that information. Reze used to be Fujimoto's favorite character, however, that title now belongs to Denji. Despite being Fujimoto's favorite character, however, Denji has yet to win a character popularity poll for his own series, which I think is just poetic. In fact, he hasn't even reached the top 3. Power took the cake in 2020, pun intended, and Aki won in 2021. Honorable mentions go to Kobeni's Car, who has been in both the top 20 and top 10, and Power's breast pads, who were ranked 25th in 2021. You sick fuck. Despite being extremely popular in the West, the Chainsaw Man anime adaptation apparently received much backlash in Japan, which is assumed to be a reason for the low Blu-ray sales. Himeno was originally planned to be Aki's little sister. She was also planned to be Denji's main body. However, the idea was scrapped and the role was given to Power instead. The young Kishibe shares a striking resemblance to Yoshida, and the grown Kishibe we've mostly seen looks like Mads Mikkelsen. I think it's a general agreement within the fandom that Kishibe was inspired by Mads. Whether Fujimoto ever confirms it or not is irrelevant. Denji's mother died of a heart disease, and Denji began showing symptoms of a similar disease shortly before he was killed by the zombie devil and revived by Pochita. It's been theorized that the disease in question could be mitral stenosis. Fujimoto has stated that Power's character was inspired by Walter Sobchak from The Big Lebowski and Eric Cartman from South Park, which makes all the sense. In the Japanese release of the Chainsaw Man manga, most of the characters' names are written in katakana, regardless of whether their names are Japanese or not. One notable exception to this rule is Himeno, whose name is written in kanji, with the characters for princess/young lady of noble birth and field/wilderness. During the writing process of Chainsaw Man, Fujimoto asked his editor whether he should kill off Kobeni or the angel devil. The editor replied with Kobeni, so naturally Fujimoto killed off the angel devil. Angel's design may be based on Lucifer's appearance in the classic painting The Fallen Angel, although this is less of a fact and more speculation on the fandom's part. It does make some sense given that Angel and Lucifer have the same hair color and they do share this kind of extremely attractive. Beam is best girl. Katana Man looks a lot like Carl Rupert Cronin from Hellboy. I always thought he kinda had a Tom of Finland thing going on as well, but that could just be me. Fujimoto has mentioned the film Jinro as an inspiration for Rise and the entire Bomb Girl arc, as the films begin with a girl committing a suicide bombing and the method resembles the way Rise transforms into her devil form. Quanxi's method of decapitation is a reference to a manga called Kirisuke and Johnny, the Slaying of 499. This inspiration has also been seen in part 2 of Chainsaw Man, not only by Quanxi's hand but also chainsaw devils. This decapitation fact was a big revelation for me because those panels have always struck me as especially Fujimoto, if you know what I mean, but it's cool to know that it's actually an homage to something. Quanxi is also rarely seen in her devil form and has garnered a reputation as a freakishly strong human, with many characters being in the dark about her true self. She's also known as the first devil hunter, although the specifics of this title remain unknown. Himeno gives Aki a cigarette through the ghost devil, which has writing on it that reads, "Easy Revenge." This is likely one of many references or inspirations that Chainsaw Man draws from the 2000s anime Fully Cooley, where a character called Momimi is seen smoking a cigarette that reads, "Never knows best." Aki is also mentioned on the Chainsaw Man fandom as being the person with the most contracts with separate devils, albeit I suspect that title will likely be overtaken by Fami any day now. Fujimoto has indeed stated that Fully Cooley is one of his inspirations, and one of the most glaring portrayals comes from the character of Haruka Haruhara, a character who lures in and manipulates the protagonist of Fully Cooley in order to draw out a higher being that resides inside of him, much like Makima does for Denji. Haruka's characteristics admittedly more closely resemble Power, however her role in the story and the dynamic between her and the protagonist is undoubtedly slightly parallel with Makima and Denji. I hope this segment at least somewhat makes up for the horrible video I made about the topic a while back. Sorry about that. Another big influence for Chainsaw Man is the Tsutomu Nihei manga Abara, in which a monster called the Black Gauna closely resembles the true form of Poshita / the Chainsaw Devil. The protagonist of Abara is also called Denji, however it is apparently spelled differently in Japanese from our boy Denji, which I actually wasn't aware of before doing research for this video. In part 2, we see Chainsaw Man devouring the concept of ears, and as a result, every living being with ears loses them, animals included. This confirms that the concepts the devils hold aren't exclusive to the lives or perceptions of humans, and make it likely that the fears of animals also affect the strength of any given devils. An interesting concept that ties into this is that although the concepts of ears were removed, it is also stated that hearing wasn't removed from the world. Although when the initial removal happened, we can clearly see characters struggling to make sense of what others are saying, so make of that what you will. But the detail about hearing still existing brings up an interesting concept about the entire universe of Chainsaw Man, which is the relation between concepts and things that are detrimental in our world, i.e. hearing and ears, time and aging, etc., may have a different kind of relation or potentially no relation at all in the world of Chainsaw Man. Much to Tatsuki Fujimoto's surprise, Yoshida has ranked very high on both popularity polls, which might have played a role in him having such a prominent role in part 2, however that's just speculation. Chapters 1 and 98 parallel each other. Asa's / Yoru's devil classification still remains unknown, as it is an anomaly so far. Fujimoto's choice for utilizing the War Devil in part 2 may have originated from a play on words, as the Japanese pronunciation for chainsaw, chainsaw, and war, senso, are nearly identical. Yuko's comment about calling Asa Chainsaw Woman may also be a play on this concept, as she's indeed a host for the war, aka Senso Devil, making her the Senso Woman. Another play on words comes from Fami's Japanese name Kiga, which shares a homophone with the Japanese word for penguin, and Denji was famously excited to see penguins right before Fami appeared. Cosmo's natural ability should theoretically be knowing everything about everything, which makes her one of the most powerful beings in the series, albeit this ability has seemingly made her indifferent as well, to the point of not even caring about death. One of the newest additions to Chainsaw Man, the Aging Devil, is actually more specifically called the Devil of Old Age in the Japanese version, which may affect the implications her presence may have on the current arc of the manga, albeit that remains to be seen. The Bat Devil's second appearance bears resemblance to a painting called Saturn Devouring His Son by Francisco Goya. Nayuta was a protagonist in one of Fujimoto's pre-Chainsaw Man one-shots, and the original Nayuta's personality and design was likely split into Power and the current Nayuta. The Falling Devil was inspired by a film called The Menu, which is a great film by the way. The Fish Devil's appearance shares a resemblance to a mutilated fish with legs sticking out of it from Junji Ito's manga Gyo. This could be a direct reference, as Fujimoto has confirmed that he reads Junji Ito's works in one of his weekly author comments. The phrase "kon" that Aki uses to summon the Fox Devil is a Japanese onomatopoeia for the sound a fox makes, just like the English word moo for a cow or cluck cluck for a chicken. Speaking of chicken, Bucky is technically based on a real-life chicken that managed to live without a head for 18 months back in the 1940s. Ironically, that chicken somehow died by choking on food. Yoru considers the Gun Devil and the Tank Devils as her children, which makes sense as the concept of modern weapons were created to be used as tools in war, as opposed to more primal weaponry such as spears, bows, and arrows, which were originally used for hunting prey animals. The Gun Devil is also a commentary on American gun culture, as confirmed in a 2022 Jump Fiesta interview with Fujimoto. I hope people can now stop calling me a jackass for what I said in my first Chainsaw Man video back in 2021. Chainsaw Man draws many inspirations from biblical themes, including character concepts and names. Powers, dominions, and virtues are all hierarchies from the middle order of Christian angelic hierarchy, and were partial inspirations for power, dominion, and virtue's names. Prince-y is from the lowest angelic hierarchy of principality, and Seraphim from the highest hierarchy. The meaning of this hierarchy system in Chainsaw Man is likely negligible, but the naming scheme is consistent, suggesting that Fujimoto did it intentionally. For what reasons? I am not your guy. There's also the Horsemen, which are an obvious reference to Christianity, and in chapter 81 we can see a painting of the fall of Lucifer in Makima's apartment. Oh, and just in case you forgot, this is one of the more important facts in the video, Beam is indeed best girl. Okay, I hope some of these were new to you. The vast majority of these came from the trivia sections of the Chainsaw Man wiki. It took me like hours to scour through them all, so I figured it'd be a fun thing to kind of just condense them into this 10-minute video for you guys. Other parts were stuff that I just knew off the top of my dome after doing research for other Chainsaw Man or Fujimoto related content, but big shout outs to the people who maintain the Chainsaw Man wiki. Godsend. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed any of the music in this video, you can check out my Spotify link in the description. I make all of it myself. Humble brag, shameless plug, yada yada. Thank you to all my patrons, and a special shout out to Crimson Nomad, the tier 3 lunatic. Have a great day, and don't forget to wash behind your ears. I'm serious.